Shame. But I thought they'd be really inspired, Kanesa, because you are so multi-talented, and I've known you for many years through the Molokai to Oahu 32-mile race, and to me that seems like the worst part of surfing is paddling, and you made a career out of it. How'd that happen?
Well, I guess how it happened is that I mostly grew up swimming and surfing a surfboard, but actually I've started bodyboarding in the past few years, so I'm bodyboarding in the contest. But if you ever get a chance to get out and paddleboard, it's actually a lot more fun than it looks, and the goal is really to surf, not to paddle. Mm-hmm. So the best people spend the least amount of time paddling and the most amount of time riding waves, and if you can surf for 32 miles, then that's pretty fun.
Well, this is a moment here when you've hit the finish line in first, as you've done 8 times. But I think there's a lot of young surfers in this room here this evening who are looking forward to becoming the world champion of their sport. And some of them aren't far off already, I tell you. So can you tell us, you've had a totally different application to the sport of paddling. It's a huge commitment. Can you walk us through a little bit of how you get to win a world championship of 32 miles 8 times?
I think it's just like anything that you're committed to. I used to have this poster on my wall, and it was of this woman, Allison, who's the first American woman to climb Mount Everest. And her quote was that I've always had those little goals, and they add up. And I think that that's true in everything. So this contest is a stepping stone, right? And every contest is like that, and every workout, and it's really about enjoying the process. And as surfers, perhaps in sport, we do that the most, and we surf for the love of being in the water and enjoying every wave and every session. And but having a goal down the line and training and going out even on days when the conditions aren't the best, or you don't feel like it, and pushing yourself to put the time in, and it pays off.
Well, this is you en route from Molokai to Oahu. You've spent so much time in the ocean, and I think I was talking with a historian. We had a guy here last week who wrote a book. His name's John Clark, and it's an awesome book about surfing's history in Hawaii, and he's gone back through all of these different references to surfing in Hawaiian history. Hello. Got music. We've got it all going on tonight. It's awesome, isn't it? I think I might have to start
dance.
Breaking pretty soon. Nani, we got some killer music in our ear here. Thanks. But he was explaining how the ocean and sports around the ocean are the only sports in the world where you're not just out there being an athlete, but you also have to understand the ocean and read all of those nuances. So that's something that all of these people in the event coming up this week, it's not just you getting out there and riding your wave, but it's understanding what you're dealing with, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And ironically, I think that that's part of the reason I love it so much, that it's mental and it's physical, and understanding the currents and the tides and the swell forecasts. In fact, I sat down with Pat Caldwell a couple weeks ago, the surf forecaster for NOAA, and we're doing a television show about ocean science careers, and so he was explaining what he looks for in a pipe swell, and that was really interesting. But as we have more and more information that's out there and freely available on the internet, people are their own surf forecasters, and it's pretty amazing to just even in this room have a conversation and how much people actually are understanding about weather patterns and ocean currents, and I think that's a wonderful thing.
Well, there's a couple of pictures here of you still doing what you do, your various activities. Cool wave. Looks like you surf like right before dark.
That was right before dark.
But speaking of what you just mentioned, the education, you know what's awesome is all of these kids who are so into their surfing now. Like I was just talking to Richie Collins before, and he said, oh man, we're trying to like find a good forecast and understand what's going on. I'm out there with Mia trying to teach her a little bit about pipeline and get her into it. And it's like, these people are all going to become sources of information, and they're all going to be hosting people from other parts of the world as they continue on in their careers. And so they're going to be doing a lot of what you're doing, and that is working with education. And tell us a little bit about what you do, your program that you run at UH, and then how that benefits kids and visitors and everybody around the ocean.
Well, we have a couple of programs, I guess. My background is I have a PhD in zoology. I studied hammerhead sharks for my dissertation, and my lab studied all kinds of large fish and various types of shark species here in Hawaii and elsewhere in the world, actually. But from that, I sort of transitioned into education because I saw this great need for people to understand why is science important and why do we need to understand the ocean. And as somebody who loves being out in the water and really values the health of our planet, and being able to share the things that we're discovering, our research is becoming so much more sophisticated. We're able to put electronic tags in a lot of organisms like big sharks and other fishes, reef fishes, tunas, and things like that. We have a array of listening stations all around Hawaii, in the main Hawaiian Islands and also in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands. We're tracking everything from stingrays to ape, the snapper, to large tiger sharks, and just getting an idea of what do these fish do when they're out there moving around? What are their migration patterns? It's not like a person where you can ask them, where did you go yesterday? And as technology is catching up with our scientific questions, it's really an exciting time. But if we keep all of that information in scientific journals, then there's really no point to having it. And so the education aspect is bringing that to people. And we have a free textbook that we're putting online with video and activities and things like that. That's sponsored by NOAA. We have teacher professional development institutes for teachers in Hawaii so that they can bring marine science to their classroom in whatever discipline it is that they teach, if it's physics or chemistry or biology. We have another grant. We're developing a ocean science television show. It's going to be called Voice of the Sea, and we're talking to ocean scientists around the Pacific. That's just 3 of our projects.
So is this the Northern Hawaiian Islands, is this where you went?
Yeah, this is up in French Frigate Shoals, which is about halfway between Kauai and Midway Atoll.
Is there surf there?
No, but there are lots of birds, so that's all bird poop on the sign there.
Well, I always thought hammerheads were really scary until I saw this picture. That thing's almost like earring size.
When they're born, they're only about this big, and they weigh about 1 pound to 2 pounds. So they're quite small, but big for a baby compared to other baby fish.
So can we expect any of these out at Pipeline in the next week, or are we safe?
Not at all. This is actually a 6-gill shark. If you're at all familiar with sharks, most of them only have 5 gills. But this guy has 6 gills, and here in Hawaii, part of the reason that we get big swells is because we have deep water right off of our coastline. But it also means that we get sort of deep water and even cold water species. So this 6-gill shark, people thought only lived in cold water, but we caught this guy right off Honolulu.
Oh, wow.
On a deep long line.
So maybe he can show up at Pipe.
And you can kind of tell by his body, he's sort of squishy and round. The deeper water species tend to be more blobby.
Fat.
Yes.
All right, this is really cool. This is what Kanesa does for a job. She's in the green room. You might want to explain why you are in a room that is green in a bikini.
Yeah. So this is part of our recent shoot for our TV show, and it's a green screen so that we can then put the shot into whatever background that we want. So I'm pretending to have speared a fish there.
Rubber fish or a smelly
snapper.
fish?
A snapper.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing, because obviously it's not all just TV shows and being in the classroom and educating people, but somewhere along the line you've got to go find it out, right?
Sure. Well, ironically, this is actually partly from our television show. And so what we're trying to do is connect traditional ecological knowledge and a lot of the knowledge that people have from spending time outdoors and critically observing their environment with Western science. And so this is Kimokea, and he's actually from the island of Kauai, but he lives on Maui now, and he's one of the he was actually a NOAA fellow. He's very well respected in the Hawaiian community and in the scientific community for being able to meld those two worlds together. And we're looking at the fish pond in Kihei that he's rebuilding, and it's an ancient fish pond, and they have a project to rebuild that. And actually, I think he's looking at the wall, and he's talking about, how do you know if your fish pond is healthy? Well, you look at the wall, and you can tell that it's healthy because there's a whole community of organisms living there. You see the crabs, and you see the opihi, and you see the snails living on the wall, and then you know that your fish pond is healthy, and the lemu's growing inside of it.
So from a life spent in the ocean and around ocean sports, because I mean, we all surf, and some surf competitively, some will make a living out of it, others will just make a lot of fun out of it. But was it through the ocean that you had your passion for your sport and decided that this was a career that would keep you close to it too?
Oh, absolutely. I love being in the ocean. I love the water, and I wanted to understand more about it. And I love living in Hawaii, and I'm able to do all of those things through my job.
And so science is an important thing, especially for girls too, right? And there's been a big push lately, getting more doctors and scientists out there from the field of young ladies. How's it going?
It's going really well, actually, in the fields of biology, but we need more of you to go into physics and engineering, and you can do it.
Do they do that in homeschooling? Let's ask the McGills. Can you do biology and all those things homeschooling?
You can, and our curriculum will be free to homeschool teachers too. So you can you can apply the ocean concepts and connections to those core things that you need to learn for school, and that's what we're trying to do, is put it in a context that makes you want to learn it.
All right, so exploring our fluid Earth. And
so this is our new website, and it's just amazing. It's not live yet. We're testing it through the next year with teachers here in Hawaii, but it's really revolutionary, and I'm very proud that we have something like this here in Hawaii, made in Hawaii and targeted at the Pacific. It's a completely online textbook, but there are special features, there's extensions, there's video, and there are also ways for teachers or homeschool parents to communicate back and forth. So there's a very sophisticated forum where you can post lesson plans or ideas or topics or current events, and I won't go into detail, but it is held together and easy to use.
And so you have information if anybody is interested in finding out about the syllabus or how you can apply this kind of stuff with your courses, and
I have a sign-up sheet if you'd like to be part of the website or like to be notified when it goes live. And then also we are recruiting for teachers from Oahu and Kauai for next year. This year we have Big Island, Maui, and Oahu teachers, but it's actually a paid program. Teachers get paid $1,200 to participate with us, plus credits and supplies for their classroom. So if you guys know of middle and high school teachers who might be interested, I have flyers with me tonight, and you can take one of those and they can apply.
Thank you. And you're also welcome to make a donation to a great program here. Kanesa, what are you looking forward to this week with the bodyboarding event? Let's finish with your hopes and dreams for the week.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have to make the confession that this is actually my first surf contest ever. It's totally not my professional sport. I do it because I absolutely love it, and I've just got into bodyboarding in the past 2 years. It started with I had a knee injury, but I love it, and it's sort of my new passion, and I'm just so thrilled to be here and competing with you guys. I'm inspired. I live on Kauai, and I see like the 12-year-olds and the 14-year-olds just ripping, and it's so amazing. And to have the opportunity to surf out at Pipe with only a couple of people and all women in the contest, I'm so honored to be out there with you guys, and thank you for inviting me to your sport and listening to a little bit about what I do.
Thanks so much, Kanesa.